Hello, and welcome back to Zenin Fanfics. Today we're starting part 2 of an exciting new series. What if Deku had green mineral quirk? If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe for more content. The story we're featuring is written by Lotus Moon Veil on Wattpad. You can find all the relevant links in the description, so be sure to check out the author's profile and say hello. Now, let's dive into the story. I yawned as I headed downstairs after a long day of dealing with Midnight since I blew her off. Instead of what would have been a few-hour date, became an all-day thing. First, we went to Disneyland, Tokyo, and rode almost all the rides. For an ancient theme park, it was a blast, except I had one question. Why is the mascot a giant talking rat? I got hit by Midnight when I asked that, and she told me his name is Mickey Mouse, and he is not a rat. Honestly, I don't care, but I admit that some movies I watched from the 1900s weren't that bad. Didn't understand Sleeping Beauty or something called Muppets, but oh well. Once we were all done at the park, she dragged me to a store where she bought me a tux. The dress shirt was a light powder blue, black shoes with golden striped soles, dark jade green pants, and jacket. I feel like a money in a jade suit. I muttered, thinking Midnight wasn't close enough to hear. Well, you're my monkey tonight, Izuku. Just so, you know it was jade or fire opal. I snickered at that and looked at her. I'd rather not dress up like my evil dimensional copy. She was in a jade green dress with random veins of golden yellow. Honestly, she looked nice, but I still don't think she is my type. We headed to the most expensive restaurant in Hosu. I tried to signal to the host to stay quiet about me owning the place, but of course it was a new guy. "Oh, Mr. Midoriya, I wasn't told you would be coming today, sir. Please follow me." He led us to a balcony table, which very few knew about. Once we were seated, Midnight had no. "Do you come here often?" It seemed like he was nervous. "Did you throw a fit when they ruined a meal?" I laughed and shook my head. As I was laughing, the head cook ran up to me. "Hey, boss. I hope you're doing fine this evening." I smiled. "I usually am when I come here. Judging by how fast you came here, you found another old recipe." He nodded so fast his head actually fell off. Midnight screamed as I caught it. "Carl, you need to wear your connection gear when you work. You're literally falling apart." I toss back his head as it laughs. "Midnight, meet Carl Ramsey. Quirk is dismemberment, and he is the best cook around. Yes, he is related to Gordon Ramsay, the cook from a few centuries ago." He greeted her and apologized for falling apart. I actually found a few recipes this time. One is a small cake called a bundt cake, and another is a soup called. "1 second, where's that note?" I watch him fall apart, looking for the note until I remove it from his hat. "Carl, check your hat first next time. 7 can soup. Sounds simple and good. Midnight, if it's okay with you. Do you want to try these out along with the regular meal?" She nodded, and I helped Carl put himself together. He rushed off happily as Midnight and I talked. We ate our meal, and she had some wine as I drank some tea. After our meal, we headed home with her giving me the evil eye. "Anything else I need to know?" I shook my head as we passed by a store. The manager rushed out and hugged me. "Yeah, you came back to town, Izu." I chuckled and patted her head. "Hello, Toga. How are you doing working at my store?" She smiled, showing her fangs. "It's fun except when people ask someone else to ring them up." I sighed. "You know you can deny them service if they do that. It's literally on the wall behind the registers." I pointed out through the window, and she face palms. I get her back to work, and I freeze, feeling Midnight's murderous aura. "Who was that, Izuku? Don't tell me you already have a girlfriend." I told her that Toga tried to kill me after her quirk made her a bit crazy. I just had her go to therapy and gave her a job when she got out. Midnight calmed down, and I get us both to our respective homes. Of course, Midnight wanted more, but I told her no. When I got home, I laid on my bed until a notification popped up on my PC. "It's F Midnight. I hope this is important and not the hero Midnight. I want to relax some." I check, and it was an email from an unknown person who called himself Midas. "I want you to join the elementals. I am Midas, King of Gold. We have Neptune, North Wind, Hephaestus, and Zeus. If you join us, we can get rid of the hero system." I sighed and looked up their code names to find out what they all were and assumed their names matched their quirks. I responded a bit later. "No offense, but I don't want to join any random team of people who literally used code names that match their quirks. Midas, you must turn stuff to gold if you touch it. Zeus uses lightning, I'm guessing, etc., etc. Message me again, and I will find you. I didn't hear back from them that night, but knowing my luck, I will meet them soon. I sat up after a long night thinking about the email from Midas. With a shrug, I headed downstairs to watch TV, glad I had the day off, since it's a Saturday. That's when my door was turned into gold and broken through. I am Midas, and you will join us or else. I looked at the muscular female with a glare. 1. You broke my door. 2. You broke my door. 3. I already said no. 4. It's one of my days to relax. 5. Intruders. That woke up the entire house, including my mom, but in Mama Bear mode. That's as when Zeus, Hephaestus, North Wind, and Neptune walked in. They were about to grab me to drag me wherever when all my nomoforms charged in and simply ruined them in 5 seconds. Once that was done, I restrained them all and took their quirks temporarily. Let's find out what's up their asses. I'm tired of people bugging me for one reason or another. When they woke up, they tried to use their quirks, and I laughed. Don't worry, I currently hold your quirks. Now tell me, why did you destroy my door when I said a no? The first to speak was Midas. We broke it to kidnap you and bring you to our lair. Once that we were going to torture you into joining. Why did I say that? I growled, and NFs walked in surrounding them. One of the more feral-looking ones spoke. You dare threaten the one who saved US. The one who gave US back our minds. Gave US home. Gave US hope. Izuku let me eat them. I shook my head as I petted him like we planned. No, we won't eat them yet. I'm sure in their current forms they'll be bitter. That makes the 5 fools shake in fear. Fine, but I want Midas' brain. She destroyed the door I made you. I nodded, grinning. Of course you will get her brain. She ruined an awesome gift. Zeus then spoke up. The blonde dude looked like he was high on weed. Look, man, Midas forced us to do this. All we wanted was to be left alone by the police and heroes when we smoke weed, do drags, or use our quirks on my parents' property. Seriously, none of it is illegal, but they keep bugging us because I'm striking golden trees with lightning. Hephaestus turns the gold into jewelry. North Wind would cool it, and Neptune would get us drinks or make it rain over my property, so it boosts my quirk. I froze and slowly turned to them. You 4 are the idiots who kept me up at midnight with lightning and thunder when it wasn't supposed to happen. You 5 are my neighbors for over 10 years, and you drove me insane. I had to keep reporting you for keeping me awake when I was slowly losing the ability to sleep. I picked up Midas and recognized her. Judy Millhouse from America. I drop her and identify the rest of them. All of them were neighbors who drove me and my mom crazy. Okay, let me put this in a way you idiots understand it. You were using your quirks between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. Your quirks, especially storm and lightning, caused a SHD ton of noise. You idiots were disturbing the peace, causing noise disturbance, and making it impossible for people to sleep. Now use your quirks during the day, or you can do it in the mountains behind my house. If you do it when people aren't sleeping, or where you won't keep people awake, you'll be fine. Now bug me again for some dumb, but reason, and I will keep your quirks. Do I make myself clear, you stoned idiots? They all nod before I return their quirks and release them. They were lead out by the NFs. I fixed the door and sighed as yet another group of people destroyed the door. The Anti-Villain Federation destroyed all my external doors and every single window before they saw me standing in my living room shaking with rage. You destroyed my mansion. I bought this with my literal flesh, and I saved people who were illegally experimented on. I have done nothing to any of you. Now leave before I invoke Quirk Home Protection Act. They had a muscular guy with bone spikes and looked like he was part wolf walk over to me. I glared as I looked up at him as he punched me. It broke his arm as I wasn't moved at all. You call that a punch? This is a punch. I barely put any force into the punch, sending him through the walls behind him. What a weakling. I wasn't even using 1% of my power. Now leave, or I will have to fill up about 10 different hospitals. They had a person put me in an air membrane cage, and I smirked as they pointed guns at me. That's when the leader walked over. It was my Netta. Any last words, villain? I just started to laugh. I laughed easily for an hour, because by the time I was done, most were sat down or raiding my fridge. You idiots are following Pervert Supreme. Seriously, he has groped girls of all ages. Try to grope all of the UA girls supporting more than a B cup, and try to grow my own mother. Izuku's mom stayed thin and tall, but maybe got a bit cavia. In this world, she didn't end up looking like she got compressed by stress. Mineta panicked. This villain is lying. He abused his powers and makes people work like slaves in his house. Mocha, the grapist, is here. This caused Mineta to shake as she walked out. She honestly was in her 30s, but looked like she was 18 and had curves to put porn stars to shame. She sighed as she saw him. What do you want now? You know I don't like you. He struggled to contain himself. I am here to finally get rid of this stupid villain. This made Mocha laugh her, but off. You're more of a villain than he is. Hell, you groped me so many times I actually have spiked clothing ready to put under my uniform. She kept laughing as Mineta stuck her to the wall with his grape sticky ball. Shut up, you lying slut. He gagged her as I used my quirk to warp over and grab him by the neck. Mineta, you've now officially pissed me off. I'm invoking QHPA. I steal every intruder's quirk and call the police as NFs tie them up. As the police watch the security tapes and cuff the people in anti-quirk cuffs, I return the quirks. Give back my quirk, you villain. You have no right to keep it. I sighed as I looked at Mineta. I boosted your quirk, and you've only used it to be an even bigger pervert. Honestly, I don't think you deserve a quirk. I gave him back his BRTH quirk, and the police take him away. I unsticky ball Mocha from the wall, and she sighed. Apparently, she hoped I'd use her for special times. After this was all cleaned up, I started to repair my mansion really mad. Hopefully on Monday, I find him expelled. I sit in the classroom much earlier than anyone else as I grumble. Since the little anti-villain Federation's invasion of my mansion, I haven't even been able to meditate. More branches of that stupid group have attacked me multiple times and at random times. Seriously, if their main branch fails, so will the rest. I am literally one more irritation away from attacking all of the branches to hopefully get my equivalent of sleep. My classmates came in, and I just half-fist waved from how my sanity was crumbling. After a bit, I see Mineta walk in, and I grew lots of spikes, destroying my desk and scaring everyone. See, officer, he is a villain. Why won't you arrest him? Screamed the grape-headed fool. You assaulted me, Mocha, and 99% of the females here, and you expect me not to get mad when I see you. I still have to replace over 50 windows from your stupid stunt with the anti-villain idiots. The officer pulled him back and got between us. I was not told you had history, but he is still in this school, but on parole and under very close supervision. I growled as I fixed my desk. If he attempts to grope anyone, I will take his quirk and replace it with one that if he is within 3 meters of a female, she will get the urge to avoid him. Mineta walks over to me and gets in my face. That reminds me, I want my full quirk back. The officer looks at me. What does that mean? I growled and warped Grapist to his seat, which got moved to a corner and surrounded with spikes. Stay there, or else, Grapist. Anyways, first day of school, I boosted his quirk a tiny bit so he can turn his ball into simple items. When he attacked me a few days ago, I removed the boost. His quirk is still there, but as it was before the boost. The officer nodded and took a seat near the pervert. Shut up, Mineta. Boosts from other quirks don't count as your own quirk. Class was simple and kind of just a refresher, except each teacher asked why Mineta was spike-walled and had a cop next to him. Kakin explained each time, so I wouldn't strangle anyone. When lunch started, the cop swapped with another and escorted Mineta to a special room where he got his lunch served to him. The rest of us enjoy lunch until class started back up. I was first into the classroom and ready to trap the grapist when Nizu walked in with Aizawa and Midnight. Nizu waved to me before we waited for the entire class to come in. Mineta has been expelled and has been marked on his ID as a dangerous person. During lunch, he attacked the cop, keeping an eye on him. While he was unsupervised, he groped 10 girls and tried to RPE the 11th. She fought back, and he killed her. I'm sorry, Izuku, but it was one of class in. He is now in Tartarus, and should he ever be released, he is to be watched 24/7. I rushed to the area where the room Mineta was kept in, released the cop, and followed the grape trail to where he was caught. When I found the girl, I relaxed as she turned to dust, then returned to a flesh body. After covering her with a blanket, I took Phoenix to Nizu and explained her quirk. I then told my classmates that she was okay, and we did small bits of training as we still had to choose our hero agencies for us to intern under. I, of course, had hundreds, but I'm thinking of going to Hosu or try to get in under Night Eye. I know about his quirk, and hopefully if I copy it, I can see my own future. I walk up to Night Eye's agency and take a step back as a weighted stamp comes at me from above. I look up and see Night Eye glaring from a window. "You okay, sir? Need me to bring this weighted stamp up to your office?" I gently pick it up, then warp up behind him in the office. "Either way, here you go, sir." I place it on his desk, then warp down to reception where I give my name and why I am here. Once that's done, I walk back to his office where Night Eye is still glaring at me. "Okay, Mr. Midoriya, be honest, why did you choose my agency after your father greatly injured my friend?" I sighed. "Honestly, I have two separate reasons. One is to copy your quirk and see if I can use it to see my own future. Something is bugging me, and I'm hoping I stay clear of my father's path like my dreams and his dying wish. The other reason is hoping that if you support me, even more people will stop seeing my father's shadow over me." After some silence with me looking down, he forces me to look him in the eye. I copy his quirk as he touches me, and he pulls away scared for some reason. "Your future is not usable. That's impossible. There's never been anyone I couldn't read." I stiffen and think a bit. I think it's because I'm a living gem. I'm not flesh and BLD like others. I break my arm and show him before I reconnect it. "Wait, I can boost it." I hold out my hand nervously. Night Eye takes it eager for an answer as I greatly boost it easily. I remove the touch and direct eye contact. It could be a reflection or a picture in a high enough resolution now. "Try now." I removed physical and made it so a high enough quality picture and a reflection of a person's eyes can use your quirk. He shook his head. "Sorry, but no, it's still not working." He looked at an All Might poster and his eyes widened in shock. His future has changed, but how? His injury. "Wait, there is two of you in room." I look at him and use the quirk and adjust the viewing more to add sound, being able to fast forward and rewind it or just instantly learn it all. Night, I just tried your quirk on you. Some guy named Overhaul injured you unless I act now to stop it." He froze and looks at me. "Do you know what he is doing?" I nod and use Cyber Izuku's quirk to show it all and watch as his future branches off with one, being him living till old age. "If you give me permission now, I will figure out why my future is hidden and arrest Overhaul and his evil crew. His bullets won't work on me. I give permission, but you will armor me in your gems and bring me along. Need any quirks for your plan?" I shook my head and explained Vamp Izuku and his ability to create quirks. I don't use his quirk because it takes a lot of concentration to make quirks from scratch, but if there's a base to work from, it's a lot easier. He asked for a list of base quirks and got people with quirks close to what was needed. After that, he put me in a soundproof room where I did what was needed and made custom emerald armor for Night Eye and his main apprentice with permeation as a quirk. To go to Mirio seems like a good guy, just overly energetic, and his hero name. Lemillion is kind of funny, but I understand it. Once I was done, I dozed off in the room. When I wake up in a different room, I freak out and prepare to break down the door. Right when I punched it, Togata opened the door and instantly became intangible so I wouldn't hurt him. I quickly pull my arm back. "I'm so sorry. I was just freaked out being in a random room. People have tried to kidnap me before, so." I sigh and show him my emerald insides by removing the porcelain skin on the arm. He was stunned and poked it. "Be glad Nijire isn't here. She would flood you with questions." He laughed some. "Anyways, Night, I loves the armor, but I don't think I can wear mine." I smiled. "I infused the emeralds with your quirk. I would have used your hair as a catalyst, but I don't want to force it to grow a lot." We talk and joke a bit before we get to the armor room. He slides it on and goes through the floor with it surprised. When he came back up, I see Night Eye in his gem armor, which looks like a nice emerald suit with a helmet, gloves, and very nice jade sole dress shoes. Impressive spite. If this goes well, may I keep this armor? I might even get some suits in this color later. I nodded. Of course, also forgot Eraserhead's quirk won't even work through the emerald armor. After that, a bunch of cops and the three of us end up at Overhaul's base. I suddenly got what I can only call a headache. Something is wrong. I've never felt anything like it, and I quickly learn why. The timeline is greatly changing. I need to hurry and head to Hosu. Night, I apologize, but something is wrong. I sense I'm needed in Hosa soon. I'm ending this now. I summon skeleton Gemians who raid the base. As they act as the main catchers with built-in restraints, I create normal Gemians to act as brawlers. I then motion for Knight, I, and Lemillion to follow me. Okay, Spite, what's going on? This is far from the plan. I sigh and point to the ground in the middle of the street. He's about to pop out. 3, 2, 1. The second I say one overhaul, one of his goons, and a girl with a horn came out a door Overhaul created. Overhaul, give up now, or get beat up and arrested either way. He glared until he saw me. I know you. You're all for one's BSDRD son. I smirked as I nodded. And you're a germaphobe with a god complex. How about you give up before I make you armless? He charges me and tried to use his quirk on me only for nothing to happen. He tapped me a few times before I knocked him out with a single chop to the back of his neck. As I took out Overhaul, Lemillion got his goon. I had Knight. I cuffed them both as I went to the little girl. Hello there. I'm Midoriya Izuku, and I'm the hero in training Spite. What's your name? She sniffled a bit. I'm Mary. Are you going to take my BLD too? All three of us heroes stiffened at that statement. I looked at Knight. Permission to take his quirk completely. A man who hurts a young girl doesn't deserve it. Knight, I nodded, and I stole it. I then looked at Eri. No, we will never do that. We are here to stop him from causing trouble. Come with us, and he will never hurt you again. She hugged me, and I carried her to the police and told her to listen to them and Night Eye. I then warped to where I was needed in Hosu. I barely left the portal when I was stabbed. I looked at my chipped skin and up at the stabber. Hello, Stain. I'm hero in training Spite. I apologize for interrupting, but I can't let you continue. He scoffed until he tried to lick the blade, only to find it bent and bloodless. What the hell? Is your quirk some form of hardening? I shook my head and looked to Native as current target. Call Night Eye, please. He gave me permission to fight, and will need my location, please. Native got to it as I looked at Stain. No, I'm the Emerald Child, the Walking Fortune, the hero in training Spite, the son of One for All, Midoriya Izuku, and my quirks are Quirk Vault and Living Emerald. Stain got really mad, and I mean really mad. He released an aura of killer's intent that was almost solid. Wow, that intent felt similar to Endeavor's when he tried to kill me. His was more angry, but pretty close. This angered him. Do not compare me to that fake hero. Of course he tried to cut me again. I let him try until he wore himself down. After he was tired as hell, I cuffed him. Let me go, you fake hero. I sighed and whispered in his ear, please don't call me that. Just because my father, who had nothing to do with raising me, was evil, doesn't mean that I am. With Native's help, we got him in jail with lots of people taking pictures, muttering about the emerald flesh visible all over my body because of stains slashing off my porcelain skin, and a few anti-villain idiots throwing tomatoes at me. Once he is fully booked Night, I showed up and looked me over scared. Midori, are you okay? You're missing a lot of skin. I nodded and forced more to form as I warped and absorbed all my gem ions which serve their use. I'm almost perfect now, just very hungry. Few of my gem ions were destroyed, and Stain was really mad at me. Native heard that. What do you mean he was mad? Did you backstab him, villain? He posed to fight me, but Night Eye got between us. This shocked me, and Native along with all the cops around us. He is not a villain. I saw his future. He will be a great hero. Spite will be a household name as a hero who works with All Might. I stiffened in shock and began to cry some jade tears. I was happy. I knew I wasn't going to end up like my father. Night, I put his hand on my shoulder. I lied when I said I couldn't see your future. I was scared as I saw two futures. You just sealed the one you wanted. Let's go to a buffet nearby. I remember you went kind of crazy hungry after your battles at the sports festival. I nodded and followed him, leaving a few mini gem ions to grab my tears and bring them to me to sell later to my jeweler friend. As he lead me out and I pocketed the tears, and he opened his car's back door where Eri, in a new simple yellow dress, tacked me. Yay, you're back. Where have you been, Izuku? I knelt down and hugged her gently. I was stopping another bad guy. Did you listen to the cops and Night Eye? She nodded. Night Eye's a bit like Overhaul, though. I picked her up, putting her in her car seat before getting in myself. Wouldn't you be if you could see when people would die? She looked down. Sorry, Night Eye. I didn't mean to insult you. I know what it's like with a bad quirk. He smiled. It's okay, Eri, I get why you'd see me like him. What exactly is your quirk? She began to look sad and cry. I erased my dad from XXX's. I killed Dad. I looked at Eri and saw what happened using Night Eyes boosted quirk. It's okay, Eri. It was an accident. He scared you and your quirk activated. It wasn't your fault. I gently patted her back as she looked at me. Can you take my quirk too, like you did Overhaul? I froze and thought for a little bit. Night, I answered her. He could, but you can turn your quirk into a blessing with training. With training, you can heal wounds, rebuild buildings, and possibly more. I thought up an idea and smiled. I have an idea. Eri, how about I give you a second quirk? One so you can learn quirk control, and once you MSTR it, you've mastered your other quirk too. She looked up at me. Really? You can give quirks too? I nodded and formed a mini gem ion in my hand. I will give you a quirk to float and fly like a bird. It will be the same controls as your rewind quirk. I have Minnie float above my hand and fly around Eri, some making her laugh and giggle as she tried to catch it. When she did, she looked the Minnie over. How is he moving? There's no strings. I laughed. That's because he is a living gem like me. So you want to be able to fly? She released the Minnie and nodded. If it'll help me, then yes. I gave her the quirk and smiled. Okay, now, no triggering it, okay? We are about to go eat. She nodded as we pulled into the parking lot. The three of us went in, and I helped Eri make a healthy-ish plate of food she might like. After the meal, I headed to the jeweler down the street and sold some of the jade tears to pay for the meal and tip a lot. By the time I got back night, I already paid, but I still gave them the money. I picked up a sleepy and full Eri into the car, and night I drove us back to his agency. Midoriya, I saw her in the vision. She will be your partner until she dies. I can't fully see your future cause you're immortal. Being a gem is a blessing and a curse, isn't it? You'll make lots of friends and outlive them all. I sighed and looked at him. I kind of saw that coming after Kakin blew me up in training. I just hope to end people judging others because of their family or quirk. He nodded, and once we got to his agency, he put me and Eri in the same room in the emergency barracks in case heroes or sidekicks had to take a nap or sleep in between shifts. The next morning, I woke up to Eri dive bombing Mirio in shorts and a tucked-in shirt. They were having fun, and I couldn't help but decide to act like a parent. Eri, what are you doing? She stopped floating near Mirio and looked at me, something Mirio calls dive bombing. I slowly got out of bed. Be glad Mirio can allow stuff go through him. If he didn't have his quirk, and you got too close, you could have hurt him. She looks sad as she lands and looks up at me. I'm sorry, Izuku. I didn't know. I knelt down and hugged her. It's okay. I just wanted you to know to be careful around others. Now I have an idea. Have you had breakfast? She nodded. I had applesauce and apple slices. I smiled. Good, now let's head to the training room. I have an idea. We walked down there, and I looked at the training room. It had nothing for floating or flight quirks. Okay, my idea needs some extra work. Mirio, is there a toy store near here? I need some Hoola hoops and a few rewards. He gave me directions, and I told Eri to wait with Mirio for a little bit. I ran to the store, got what I needed, and returned to Mirio playing patty cake with Eri. I created floating minis to fly and hold Hoola hoops in certain spots. Eri, you ready to fly again? She nodded and ran over to me. I told her the course, and if she got them all done, I would give her a big reward. The second I said reward, she was through the hoops in less than a minute, and she landed on the ground in front of me without any trouble like before. Okay, that was not expected. You already have awesome control. Anyways, hey race, your reward, Eri. I handed her an apple puzzle, a princess doll, and plush rabbit doll. She squealed in joy and instantly began to work on the puzzle. Mirio and I helped her some when she got stumped. She enjoyed it, and I made a clearish green diamond box, which I put her puzzle in once she was done. I told her it was to protect it, and if she wanted to take the puzzle apart and resolve it, she can open the box and pull it out. She liked that, and she played with her doll and Bunny as Night I called for me. He asked why I was seen carrying a lot of Ola hoops and a big bag. I told him to follow me, and we headed to the training room, where we saw her lifting pink weights I didn't see before. I then saw that she was mimicking Mirio, making me laugh some. Eri saw me and smiled. Mirio said this is how I can get stronger. I nodded. Yes, but you're too young to be doing this stuff, okay? We can do it when you get bigger and stronger, okay? She put the weights back and nodded. She then showed Knight her finished puzzle and pointed to the minis holding the hoops she flew through. He was stunned. You made her court training into a game, and she liked it. I nodded. Not as good as she liked dive bombing Mirio. The fool had her dive bombing her knowing she'd enjoy it, and she can't hurt him. Luckily, I was able to warn her about hurting people. He smiled. You might as well adopt Eri. This made her look up at Knight. What does that mean, Night-Eye? Mirio laughed from where he was lifting weights. That means Midoriya will become your new dad. Eri then turned to me. You be my new dad. I nodded as I knelt down. Probably, but there are lots of rules and laws for that. I think my mom would love to adopt you, making you my little sister. I'd be your big brother. I explained the concept for her as simply as I could before letting her zip through the hoops with them, changing their places for each lap. I talked to my mom, and she said she would since we have plenty of room, money, and plenty of people willing to help. I watched Eri land and asked for a drink. I gave her some tea as I told her I was now her older brother as my mom will adopt her. She smiled and nodded as she drank her tea. After a bit of us playing, doing races with me running and her flying the same distance, and some dive bombing in a game of catch for her, we ate lunch. After lunch, I took her to the park nearby. She enjoyed it until some kids came over asking her to play. I told her I would watch and make sure she would be safe. She was hesitant with playing with them until she slowly adjusted. After a while, they decided to play catch. I enjoyed watching until she flew up to catch a wayward ball. When she landed, I got ready for bullies or insults. Instead, the few she was playing with complimented on her quirk. They were envious since they were quirkless. Izuku, what does that mean? I walk over and knelt down. That means they don't have a power like us. They can't fly or aren't living gems. Sometimes it just hasn't manifested yet where they are without a quirk. I secretly had a hair poke them and smiled a bit. In their cases, they haven't manifested yet. You guys have another month until your bodies can handle them. They all asked how I would know. I'm just a gem. I laughed and told them their quirks and that I gave Eri her flight. My name is Midoriya Izuku, hero in training, spite. I'm writing my own future and being a hero, even though my father was a really bad man. They all went wow and asked who he was. I told them to ask their parents later. After a couple of hours of them and Eri playing, I got a call for supper at the agency. Eri, say goodbye to your friends. It's supper time at the agency. She said bye and walked over. Can we come back tomorrow? I want to play with them again. I nodded. I think so. I'll ask Night-Eye, okay. She cheered, and we went to the agency. This will be a fun internship. The next day, I was working on my shield watch as Eri woke up. Izuku, why are you up before me? Did you sleep too late yesterday? I chuckled and finished the modifications I was working on. I actually don't need to sleep, Eri. My body being a gem, there's no need. I made my arm ring by hitting a metal bedpost. This made her rush over and saw that under my porcelain skin was emeralds. What are you made of? I laughed and braided her hair as I explained it to her. Izuku, can we get breakfast? I nodded. Sure, what would you like? Apples. I chuckled and finished braiding her hair, making a jade hair clip with emerald flowers. How about some eggs, pancakes, and apple juice? She nodded and tried to drag me down to the kitchen. After breakfast night, I walked in. Morning, Spite and Eri. Did you two sleep well? Eri nodded. Izuku didn't, though. I nodded. Sleeping is kind of optional, but excessive quirk usage or stress can cause me to get tired. Excessive as in using quirk creation or fixing my body a lot. Night-Eye understood and handed me some papers. You have to go on patrol today, and you may take Eri if she is in armor. I take off my watch and put it on her wrist, adjusting it some to fit her. Kind of saw that coming. Eri pressed pink to summon armor, blue for shield, and red to call for help. She nods as I point to each color, just in case. I formed my spikes through my porcelain skin, and she hit the armor button. From her neck down, indestructible fabric formed. It was snow white with streaks of green. A bit of metal formed over her horn as well. Why is her outfit white and green? Togata asked as he walked into the room. Simple. She's my sister, the snowball of the family. Eri looked up at me. What's a snowball? I stiffened up and then knelt down. You've never seen snow. She shook her head as she asked what it was. Night-Eye, can you find a snow machine for tomorrow? I'll pay for the renting of it. He nodded, and I went out on patrol with Eri on my shoulders at first. After a couple of hours, I was attacked by a big-fisted moron. I was sent backwards a few feet, and I saw who punched me. Hello again, Brick for Brains. How long has it been? 12 years now. I smirked as I looked at Eri. Sis, fly up and signal for help, please. She nodded and flew up, quickly floating out of range and hitting the red button. I'm surprised you remembered me, Emerald Child, my first kidnapper said as he walked out of the shadows. I shrugged. Kinda hard to forget you tried to kill me. Your son made sure of that. I got into a fighting stance as he laughed some. He then launched himself at Eri to grab her. She formed her shield and broke his nose as he flew right into it. That brat broke my nose. I laughed as I cuffed the guy. You forgot I escaped you and other kidnappers, didn't you? Of course I would protect my sister. Eri, you can come down now. She does and tries to heal his nose. She succeeded too and also healed his injuries from jail accidentally as she struggled to stop her power. Wait, she can fly and heal. What else is a surprise in your family? I held him in place as he looked at his less reflection in a nearby window. She is adopted, and I gave her the ability to fly, to train her core control. She's getting much better. Be glad she cut it off before you became a baby. This scared him as heroes arrived and took him away. Night Eye showed up and looked him over. Odd, he looks younger than his ID. Spite did Eri. I nodded. He launched himself at her and broke his nose on her shield. She healed him since she felt bad. She cut it off at about 12 years. He looks like right before I broke his foot when he first tried to kidnap me. I fill Night Eye on my history with him, and he sighed. Now people will want her. I shrugged. Just let them try to take her. My mansion has a ton of very strong guards. Helps that I saved a lot of Nomu. What's a Nomu? I picked up Eri and smiled. Don't worry about it, Eri. Let's get some lunch. Chipotle or McDonald's. Eri looked down at me. Which one has apples? I shook my head. Eri, you can eat more than just apples. Let's go to Chipotle and get some big burritos. I could use a good meal. We had lunch and went back on patrol. She enjoyed it as she played and talked to some kids who asked my hero name. After a bit, we returned to Night Eye's agency, where she played a bit with Togata and a hero called Bubble Girl. Night Eye called me up to his office, where he gave me a new hero's license. You are now a pro hero, just in case you have to protect Eri or yourself. I also talked to the hero board, and you're now legally able to fully remove or give quirks to your discretion. I couldn't help but cry jade tears. Finally, I am a hero. It may not be how I imagined it, but finally, I am a hero. He dismissed me, saying I could return home tomorrow, since heroes don't have to intern. After collecting my nerves, I headed to Eri. Eri, you ready to meet Mom? We are heading home tomorrow. She cheered and hugged me before she asked for me to set up her flying course, so she can show off a little bit. Sure thing, but let me get you a reward, okay? She nodded as I rushed off to the toy store and a candy store. I returned with the stuff and set up her course. Okay, this time 2 laps, and you must fully land between laps. She whined. Why must I land when flying is so much fun? I ruffled her hair slightly. You meant to only heal the guy's nose, correct? She nodded. You rewound him to about 12 years ago. Now fully landing and having to restart your quirk will help you learn control. I'm just trying to help you out, okay? She nodded and thinks a bit, putting pink weights in certain spots under the course. What are you doing, Eri? She smiled. More landing spots where I gotta do something that requires me to land fully. I gave her an apple juice box. Smart idea. Now drink your juice and get ready, okay? Maybe if you do good enough, you and I can fly home instead of riding a train. That idea made her basically bounce to the wall. Once I got her calmed down, I pulled out my phone, pulling up the clock app to use a stopwatch. Whenever you are ready, go. I'm going to time you, and you will have to do this a few times with a break, okay? She nodded, then took off. First time was just over 10 minutes, the second was 8 minutes, and the third time was 4 minutes. She was learning faster than I expected. Each time I have her a small toy until the last one. For the last one, I hugged her and gave her a big caramel apple. You are already doing really good, Eri. Your first time going through was 10 minutes. The one you just did was 4. That less than half of what you did the first time. She enjoyed her treat and went through the course eating it for fun. I watched her and smiled as Togata pulled me to the side. You got her quirk control almost a pro level already. I could have used you as a teacher years ago. I smiled and nodded. My quirk, aptly named Quirk Vault, has copied many intelligence quirks. I can plan and understand quirks with it, even Eris. I quickly ate an apple, then returned it to before I ate it. You may see my teaching ability as a blessing, but eventually I'll end up the immortal teacher of future heroes. When Eri finished her treat, we had supper, took our showers, and she went to bed. I stayed up thinking, will being immortal be worth losing the ones I love over and over? I woke Eri up at 8 and have her do a couple of laps after breakfast. Took out a thought that I'm being too rough on her as I shook my head. All I am doing is giving her an edge compared to other kids and making it so she doesn't accidentally erase someone again. Once she was done, I gave her a new outfit that would kind of make her look like a flying squirrel. Eri, this is a glider suit. It's made to let you glide, so you don't constantly have to use your power. I helped her into it as we headed up to the roof. Once we get up there, I formed my own so she wouldn't feel silly in a glider suit. After we got ready, we jumped off the roof and began to fly off toward my hometown. I made sure that she was following me and did some loop-de-loops to keep her entertained. I saw a kid being beat up near UA and yelled, "Eri, stay up here for me." I drove down at high speeds and did a hero landing behind the bullies. Back away from the kid right now. You should know better than to bully anyone. They looked at me and laughed. Look, a quirkless helping a quirkless. What's next? His prostitute girlfriend is going to run over and offer SEC to save them. They started laughing loudly, and I just trapped them in a giant emerald box. With them yelling, I headed over to the hurt kid and healed him. There you go. I'm guessing they attack you often. The kid nodded, and I checked for his quirk. When I saw the results, I helped him up. You do have a quirk, but you must train your body to unlock it. I can speed that up, or you can train your body to move faster and stronger. The kid looked confused as Eri landed next to me. Izuku, do I need to heal him? I shook my head and ruffled her hair. I took care of it already. You need to train your flying and rewinding more, okay? She nodded and flew back up into the air. She has 2 quirks. I nodded. I gave her flight to make it easier to control her other one and for us to get home. She has severe claustrophobia. Now your quirk is muscle-based. Unfortunately, it's similar to muscular, and you can form muscle fibers to increase your strength and speed. Unfortunately, you can only spawn up to 1,000x your body's amount of pink muscles. You have none in your body. I explain it to him and give him a training regimen to convert all of his muscles to pink. He thanked me and ran home as I scolded the 2 bullies. Of course, they wouldn't listen until I showed them my license. I am a pro hero, and it's not part of my job to stop bullies, but I do. I am making the world a better place. I warned them if I saw them bulky anyone again, I would toss them into juvie. After that, I let them go and joined Eri in the sky before we continued to my mansion. When we landed, my mom greeted Eri and gave her a tour of the mansion. Eri loved her new bedroom, but asked why there were multiple beds. I laughed a bit and knelt down. I have saved many who were tested on. We are kind of short on room at the moment, but the twins said they would love to share their room with you. They go by their nicknames, so you might get called the Neapolitan Trio. Eri looked at me confused before the twins came in, one with chocolate-colored hair and the other with strawberry-colored. They greet her and played with their toys. It was during lunch when Eri asked, "Izu, what's Neapolitan?" I couldn't ask earlier. I laughed and asked her to give me a second. With a quick walk to the massive freezers, I pulled out a giant tub of Neapolitan ice cream and showed it to Eri. I then explained the joke, and she smiled. I get it, but I'd rather be apple-flavored instead of vanilla. This made me and the twins laugh as they helped explain it some. For the next couple of days, Eri met with all the Nomoform and adjusted to being cared for. She was curious about everything, and I answered all I could. When we took a bus that my mom bought to school, Eri sang songs with the little kids as we headed to UA. The bus was parked, and we all headed to our classes. Well, almost everyone. Eri followed me to one where my entire class saw it. Ida spoke first. Midoriya, is that a new NF? I looked at Eri, then snapped at him. Eri, is she not of that? Also, she is my younger sister. Eri waved, then looked up at me. Was I supposed to follow strawberry and chocolate? I nodded and sighed. Yeah, you were, but it's okay. I'll take you to that classroom in a second. Can you guys tell Aizawa what happened, please? They nodded, and I took Eri to her class. Okay, Eri, be good. Listen to the teacher, and if you have questions, I'm sure they will be able to help you okay. She nodded, and I went to class. Izawa waited out in the hallway for me, and I could hear my classmates talking. Congrats, Midoriya. You're the youngest hero ever. You can now drop out and start your hero career right now. I shook my head. I want to finish school. I may be a pro, but there's always more to learn. We went into the classroom, and I saw that Jiro, a.k.a. Earjack, had eavesdropped on me and Izawa. Tell anyone, and I will make you into a Nomu. Understood. She nodded, and I went to my seat. Morning classes went by normally except Present Mike and Midnight giving me odd looks. Everyone noticed, but decided not to ask during lunch, as Lunch Rush tried to make Eri some apples and other healthy food she might like. Every girl loved Eri and asked when she was adopted. I told them about the raid on Overhaul, but I left out a lot of details. When I got to my mom adopting Eri and her, and I flying home, I said, Eri does have another quirk, but no asking please, she needs to work on controlling it. After lunch, Eri went off with the twins, and my class got ready for hero studies. This is when the fecal matter hit the air circulation device. All Might walked in, and when he saw me, he could stop himself in time. Hey, young Midoriya, I heard about the raid. Congrats on becoming the youngest pro hero ever. Izawa groaned. I nearly cussed, and Bakugo lost his SHD. What the F does he mean you are a pro? I glared at a now scared All Might. All Might, you owe me big time. I was going to tell them after the summer. You tell them, but leave out Eri's true quirk. I avoided Bakugo's attempt to grab me and floated to the ceiling. When Bakugo tried to use his quirk, I erased it temporarily, and I warped everyone to Site Beta. We let him destroy buildings in rage as we let him cool down. Midoriya, you might need to talk to Cyber Izuku to make an anger management box for Bakugo. I nodded and told him I would later. When he calmed down, All Might told him all about the raid, but I cut him off when he nearly mentioned something I don't want them to know. They all congratulated me for becoming pro, and then Uraraka asked a big question. Wait, if you're a pro, why are you here? I groaned. I still have stuff to learn, so I'm here. I'm not going to pull a nuclear Pomeranian and dive in head first. That makes everyone but Bakugo laugh. He tries to attack me, but he gets dive bombed by Eri. Leave Big Bro alone. I floated up. Eri, what are you doing here? She pointed to her class, just walking in and looking at the damage caused by Bakugo. Training day. I sighed and shook my head. Okay, Eri, we gotta break the quirk rule. Let's fix this place up. Aim for about 2 hours ago. After that, we turned back time on all the damage. She took care of the smaller things as I repaired totally or mostly destroyed buildings. Everyone was watching, and when we finished, Eri needed a nap. Momo made her a pink sleeping bag with apples on it, which Eri got into and dozed off. I then explained her quirk, and that Overhaul used her body to make quirk erasing bullets. I pulled one out of my pocket. The small bullet was encased in emeralds, but you could see what it was. This prototype could have erased a person's quirk for a month. They were not far off from permanent ones. I held Eri on my lap in her sleeping bag as I cried some jade tears. No one should have to deal with stuff like that, let alone a child. After that, we did our lessons, and I carried Eri home as she got really tired using her quirk. I woke her up for supper and then put her back to bed. I hope she never feels pain again. It was middle of the night, and I couldn't even meditate like I wanted to. Something was bugging me, but I didn't know what. The look in some of my classmates' eyes when they saw her quirk. Well, only 2, but still. Wait, only one didn't cry when I told the story. She almost seemed very mad about it being found out. I hope my hunch is wrong. Using Cyber MES quirk, I hack into all the cameras and see the person walking down some dark alleys. I watch her go into an abandoned building, basically kicking the door down. She is barely in there for a few seconds before I see the flash of gunfire and see shadows moving on the walls. After a minute of gunfire, it stops, and she walks out holding a briefcase and a file she definitely didn't have before. I decide to warp on a nearby roof and watch her, as I hope I am completely wrong. She heads into an illegal club after the bouncer greets her saying, "Welcome back, Xena. Been a while since you came here." I groaned and used Togata's quirk to get into the club. Luckily, she somewhat stood out as she headed to the back and vanished from view. Why can't it ever be easy? While mentally cussing, I snuck into the back and watched what was going on. Zenin, it's been a while. Got anything on the living gem to use against him? I want him either dead or making me money. He ruined the Quirk bullet plan. The girl smirked as she removed her BLD-soaked boots. He has a sister. His mom adopted the girl, used to make them. He cried jade tears thinking about what she went through. I bet if we get her, we could do both schemes. The bullet and his body. The guy she was talking to laughed, his body jiggling as he looked like if Santa shaved and became a PMP. I will send my best assassins to grab her later. First, I want him to meet me so I can talk him into surrender, but backstab him anyways. Your parents will no longer have their money problems. Consider their debts paid. Uraraka smirked. If possible, just kill my parents. I am sick of them telling me what I can and can't do. Seriously, I have full gravity control, and they are quirkless thanks to the gem's father. I hate the stigma of being their child. I coughed, making myself known. I really hoped you weren't the mole. Unfortunately, you threatened my family. No one F with my family. The guy shoots me with bullets, and it just sounds like an off-key piano is being played. When his clip is emptied, I knock him out and cuff him. That's when Uraraka increased my gravity. I knew I should have cried earlier. You're too smart for your own good, Deku. I wish I had found a simpler way to kill you. She laughed as she kept increasing it while I let her think she was in control. Why do you hate your parents so much? She kicked me in the face because they are quirkless. They were both born quirkless, and I luckily formed one. The stigma of them being my parents made me a target of bullying. Maybe with them dead, I can finally be free of them. I sighed and just stood up as if it wasn't a problem. You truly are an idiot. You're under arrest, Uraraka. I was really hoping you weren't the mole. I was going to ask you out. With her stunned, I knocked her out, arrested the entire club, and called the cops. By 4 a.m., there were 600 arrests, a mole in jail, and a Santa wannabe singing like a canary blaming Uraraka. I went to school late and grumbled as every single one of my classmates asked if I knew where Uraraka was. After the 14th time I was asked, I basically screamed. She was the F-mole and is in jail. She planned to have her parents, Eri, and I killed. If you don't believe me, I will willingly show the arrest cause I was there. I punched the wall, destroying a good section of it before I headed up to the roof. After a little bit, Bakugo walked up and sighed. So round-face was the mole. I am sorry, the first girl you liked was a villain. Who knows what else she would pull if you didn't catch her so soon. I just groaned and curled up. I am an idiot. I saw flags from the DMN start and didn't trust my gut. Bakugo chuckled and hit me upside the head. Finally, something human from you. You let hormones win. After he calmed me down, we went back to class, and Aizawa made sure I saw a small note when I entered. She escaped, but left a note. During a break, he handed me a copy of the note. Deku, when I get my feet back on UA soil or near your mansion, you are dead. I don't care if I have to use my quirk 100 years to do it. You ruined my freedom. I will crush yours. I burned the note and called Kurogiri. If you see Uraraka, get her to the police. She is threat level 6. She lied about her quirk and is out for BLD. I heard clattering pans as Kurogiri replied. Understood, Izuku. Should I activate the patrol plan or just to be looking for one? I growled. Go full alert. She is not getting any of my family. Alert all of them and I will tell Eri. I saw Eri at lunch and warned her about Uraraka and that she is as dangerous as Overhaul, but for different reasons. Eri nodded and went along with her day. Today has gone from bad to worse. Why did I get infatuated with a villain, and why do I feel so betrayed by her? Either way, I have to stop her and soon. I walked through the city at night. It's been a week since Uraraka escaped jail, and it's only made me angrier with each day that passes. My classmates are getting worried as I talk less and snap more. Honestly, I don't care. I just want the beach caught and in Tartarus. Her betrayal hit me harder than most, and Bakugo knew it. After a night of patrolling, I came home, showered, got dressed, and headed to school. I promised them I would keep going to class, and I will keep it, even though it's the least worrying thing on my mind currently. While I help Kurogiri make breakfast, I hear Eri ask why I'm not so nice anymore. Though I froze for a bit, I got back to cooking and doing the dishes. I go through the school day and instantly go on patrol once it's done. I warp from time to time to different towns and areas I don't look through often. When I bumped into Fat Gum, he tried to talk to me. I was courteous, but that's it. When he noticed I had other things on my mind, he sat me down. Okay, Spite, what is wrong with you? You look like you want to remove someone's head. I sighed. It's about Uraraka, the UA mole. I was going to ask her out, and the literal day before she accidentally gave herself away. She made a disgusted face as I told them all about how I saved Eri. Fat Gum was stunned. Wow, that is very, I want to cuss, but on duty. I nodded as I snapped my fingers, creating a temporary sound barrier around us. Go ahead. I put up a sound barrier so sound comes in but doesn't go out. He let out a flurry of cusses, some of which I never heard of. That sums out how I feel, Fat Gum. Potential girlfriend found out to be evil. I sighed and removed the barrier. Fat Gum nodded and stood up. I get off work in a little bit. There's a club nearby that I visit. How about we get some drinks and you meet some new people? I shrugged. Sure, but I can't drink. I have school tomorrow. Fat Gum laughed. I will call in a favor. You need to relax, bud. I nodded and walked with him, helping him with some random thugs. People asked who I was, but I stayed quiet as Fat Gum just called me a hero in training. He gets off his shift, and we both go to the club. I met lots of heroes, heroines, a few in training, and very few civilians in the club. As I was enjoying a story from a newer hero, as I spotted Uraraka. The only reason I was sure was that she flipped me off and ran away. I apologized before I chased her into an alley where she laughed. You are so easy to trick. Get 'em, boys. That's when a person who can almost infinitely eat and a person who can form crystals attacked me. I simply froze time and edited both of their quirks. I removed Bottomless Pit's hunger and made it so Crystal Dude can fully retract any he forms without pain or breaking them. With them dealt with, I trapped Uraraka and dragged her to the police station. She was stunned and tried to use her quirk, but I stole it. She cussed me out for ruining her plans as I simply stated, "You also ruined mine." I hope you learned your lesson that quirks are not everything. My father learned it as he was dying. Don't make his mistakes. I left with the entire police force, jaws dropped as I returned to the club. Fat Gum saw me walking in. Who did you chase after? She looked familiar. I told him as I got some pretty heavy drinks. Found out another benefit or a curse of my body. I can't get drunk. I can drink everyone under the table and feel nothing. With anger still flooding my brain, I left the bar and headed home. I spent the next few hours fighting Hood since he can't sleep either. By the time I was supposed to be getting ready for school, I had beaten Hood in every fight. I healed him up, showered, then ate breakfast with everyone. I had gotten rid of most of my anger, but I still felt it. While we headed to school on our bus, I meditated to get rid of my anger fully until I found its source. My green gold heart was broken. I had more than a crush on Uraraka. I loved her. Class went on boringly, but during lunch midnight called me to her office. Okay, Midoriya, what's wrong with you? For the past week you've been angry. You nearly broke Bakugo's nose. Today you're moping. What's going on? I sighed and explained it all. Me catching Uraraka and figuring out why I felt so angry, which turned to sadness when I figured it out. She sighed and hugged me. Heartbreak is natural for everyone, though it's never physical like yours. There's multiple ways to get over it, though really limited for you. We spent lunch talking, and she made me feel better. When lunch was over, I headed back to class and looked at the page of people wanting dates from me. I was still mad and upset about Uraraka, but maybe I do need a girlfriend. I may never fully get over her, but I have to try. It's been a week since I put Uraraka back into jail. I found the Eater and the Crystal Dudes again when I was just randomly warping around. Both thanked me, and I invited them to join the others I have helped. They both joined, and I notified Nizu about 2 more Class N students. After a bit of talking and me doing some rounds as a hero, I took them to an apartment complex I had bought and put them in their own rooms. With them settled in, I headed home, where I got tackled by Eri. Ow, I forgot you're not soft, Izuku. I chuckled and ruffled her hair. Sorry, Eri. You have a good afternoon. She nodded and showed me a clay figure she was working on. It was detailed and looked like a young person. I couldn't really tell who, but it was cool. That looks good, Eri. I can't wait for it to be finished. She smiled and went back to the art room. With her happy, I headed to my room and looked at a pile of letters, printed emails, and texts. I began to sort through them and sort them out some. Using a quirk I created from scratch, I would look at the writers/texters' true intent. Most were gold diggers, a couple were after a super quirk baby, and a handful of psycho stalkers. I threw all of them out after putting their names on a spreadsheet I made. Wow, this world is messed up. So many teens after the wrong things. I'm starting to sound like an old man. I looked at the last 3 and groaned as I knew who each of them were from personally. One was from Midnight, and you can guess what she wants. Mocha was the second one, and she was close to Midnight in her intent, but she felt it was more for paying back what I did for her. The last one was actually from Momo. I knew she was a nice and rich person, but she was doing it because her father wanted her to, and she has a crush on me. Out of irritation, I groaned and pinned them to my wall before I headed down for supper. Supper was uneventful until one of the female NFs started to read some of the letters I've gotten from different girls. The girls blushed, and the males all cheered until I grabbed and incinerated them. I'm sorry, but they're all after a quirk baby, the money I used to help you all, or they're insane. They are not worth looking into. I left the table and created a mini incinerator in my room for future use. The house was pretty silent after that until Eri walked in. Izuku, I'm sorry about earlier. I was helping with garbage duty and saw the letters. Before I could tie the bag, she grabbed them. I chuckled and hugged her. It's okay, Eri. You didn't plan for it to happen. Now isn't it your bedtime? Go shower and get to bed. We have school tomorrow. She hugged me and went her way as I just laid on my bed. I spent the night trying to decide who and why to pick them. That's when I thought about visiting my doubles, Vamp and Cyber. Me. I opened a portal to Cyber's and hopped though at looking at All for One, All Might, Cyber's mom, Cyber Izuku, Eri, and May all looking at me confused. Cyber tapped my leg, and when he heard the notes sound from it, he chuckled. Odd timing for a visit, Gem, Izuku. What's the occasion? All Might pointed to me. This is one of the 2 you met during training. He nodded. Yes, he is Dad Might. This made him and his mom blush, but All for One clench his fist for a few seconds. I guess it's best I update you on how far my world is, and since your sliding quirk isn't very accurate, you might have some time distortion. I got into UA both support and hero class with May. I saved Eri, became a full-on pro hero, beat up my mom's ex in dumpster fire multiple times. Oh, I found out I'm a reaper of Lady Death, the literal goddess of death. Had a summer training camp which ended yesterday, found out my dad is AFO and Dad Might is dating Mom. I looked at him for a minute as I tried to register all he said. Wow, you've done a lot. Well, I saved Eri too. I've given her the ability to fly to control her power, became a pro, found out my crush is evil, put her in jail twice, and now I'm lost. At the last bit I sigh, and May hugs me gently. It's okay, Jim. Not everything goes as planned. He got turned into a cat by a female Nico version of himself. I chuckled. Wait, you're not joking. Both shook their heads and pointed to Eri. Cyber chuckled. She liked the Nico version so much she wanted to be one. I've kind of spoiled my snowball of a daughter. I smiled. My mom adopted my Eri, and she's being watched over by ex-Nomo I was able to save. For the next couple of hours we talked and joked around some hearing everyone's stories and me learning at least some more of what my father might have been through. After that I asked for tips to get over a broken heart. They told me some good ones, but reminded me that if she wasn't meant for me, it was going to end badly either way. Plus, sometimes you got to look at all options, even if it's the same gender. I thanked them and created a portal to head to Vamp Izuku. I left and ended up in what looked like a castle in the middle of nowhere. Before I could figure anything out, I was pinned to the wall by some bedazzled bunny girls which looked somewhat familiar. Midnight. MT Lady. What happened in this reality? They dragged me to a big throne room where I saw an older version of Vamp me on a throne with Momo on his lap. At first he was confused until my leg hid against a statue. Jim, Izuku, is it you, my good me? I nodded. Hey, Fire Opal, what have you been up to and how many years have passed? I must have gone far for you to be in your 20s. He laughed and had the 2 release me. I'm sure you've had your internship and summer camp by now. It is honestly just a bit after camp if our timelines match up some. I went through a loop into the past and replaced the current loop of myself. I'm very old, but still only 15. He laughed and got off his throne and walked down to me. So what brings you by? In the doghouse with your girl. I'm sure Uraraka will calm down. I groaned. Was it that obvious I liked her? Anyways, she was a bad person, and I had to put her in jail twice. He looked stunned. That's a shocker. My Uraraka is so innocent it makes me sick. We could trade Urarakas if you want. I shook my head. I just need tips about Hairbreak. He winced. Never had it happen, so I'm useless in that department, but it shouldn't be hard to find a new girl. You're what trillionaire by now? Most girls would love to snag you. This made me groan and sit on the floor. I know, but I want real love, not some stupid gold digger only after my money or a Quirkist after a super baby. I literally have 5,000 emails a day asking for a date. Even some of my ex-nomu want me. Vamp sat next to me. Ex-nomu, as in you made them human again. How? I told him how I did it, and he relaxed some. I'm going to have to do that. Toga was accidentally made into Nomu. I keep her around because it's so much fun seeing her shape shift. I nodded. I know, I got my Toga into therapy, and she's working a store I own. She's nice to talk to, but sometimes her bloodlust hits, and she ruins my shirts. We both laugh, and he stands up. Maybe try her Shoto or Midnight. Your Shoto might be a better Shoka, if you get my meaning. I groaned and punched him. Not going to gender bend him. Anyways, thanks for the help. Good luck taking over the world. I hopped home and meditated. Those two realities are vastly different. I wonder what path I will end up on. I walked into the classroom, froze, backed out to check the room. One okay. I then walked in looking at everyone. Okay, what's going on here, and why is everyone wearing or putting on green wigs? Everyone froze and looked at me. The only one not participating was Bakugo, who had a very burnt wig on his desk. As I looked around, everyone had green wigs of their hairstyles. The funniest was Shoto's, as he had green on one side and black on the other. Momo walked over to me. We noticed you've been feeling down and wanted to try to cheer you up. Plus, you're usually late, so we had time to set up and convince Bakugo to join in. I laughed and shook my head. He has too much pride to cover his hair. He literally uses 90% of his allowance on hair gel, hairspray, and burn-resistant spray, so he doesn't singe it. He growled as I said that, and I just laughed more. You growling is making me remember your aunt's Pomeranian. What was his name again? Oh yeah, Kakin. That made him come flying at me, only for me to sidestep and him to embed into the chalkboard into A2. Wait, your nickname for Baku bro came from a dog's name. I shook my head. No, it's the reverse. Growing up, I couldn't say Katsuki, so I called him Kakin. His aunt heard me call him that, and soon after found a naturally spiky-haired, angry-looking, yet very nice, Pomeranian and called him Kakin. The next time she visited drove him crazy. Momo was laughing. So what happened? We gotta know. Bakugo then got himself out of the wall and sighed. That beast attacked me each time I answered Deku. The little spiky mutt hated everyone but Annie and Deku. Seriously, the thing would be the sweetest thing around Deku, but if I try to pet it or get Deku to go outside to play, that monster bit me. This caused everyone to burst out laughing. Mina was the first to partially pull herself together. So, is Kakin still alive? This made everyone laugh even harder until Bakugo started to make explosions in his hands. I shook my head. You can't keep scaring people, or you'll only have me and the Baku squad as friends. He groaned as Cementos fixed the wall where he broke it. I headed for my seat. Also, yes, Kakin is still alive. I saw him yesterday during patrols. Annie was surprised to see me in Hosu on a school night. She told me to tell you hi and that she's visiting next week. No, please tell me you're joking. I shook my head. Nope, she's also bringing Sabrina and a friend of hers. Bakugo turned pale and face planted into the floor. Karashima poked him. He's not reacting. I shrugged. He hates Sabrina. Each time she visits, she sends him flying in their battles. Her quirk is C4. Annie has the same quirk as his mom, while his uncle is a clay-based quirk of some sort. Let's just say, never accept a clay figurine from her. Everyone nodded, and Aizawa walked in, looked at Bakugo, looked at the green wigs, and left the room. I need to talk to Nizu about a raise. This class is going to be the end of me. I laughed some. I guess homeroom is a free PRD today. Everyone laughed while Karashima and I put Bakugo into his seat. We all joked around, and that's when Shoto asked the question, Izuku, have you talked to Vamp or Cyber lately? I nodded. I visited them yesterday, actually. Vamp was sent through a time warp and got corrupted by a Quirk. I don't know what Quirk, but I can't interfere in another reality. Cyber is actually doing awesome. He saved Eri, adopted her, and is engaged with his May. His mom is dating his All Might, and his real father is All for One, just like me. He's a pro hero, and, as a funny side note, him and Eri are now Nikos. What? Everyone said at the same time, even Bakugo. I explained what I knew, avoiding the truth about Vamp always being evil, and everyone sighed a bit at Vamp's fate. Wait, you said Cyber is a Nico now. How is that possible? That part is kind of sketchy for me. Apparently, a female Nico version of me blasted him with a cat ray. His Eri loved it, and he decided he could use his quirk to give her an Aizawa Nico quirk. Needless to say, he kept it for himself too. Everyone was stunned until Denki had to ask, is female you hot? This got him jabbed by Kyoka's earjacks. I shrugged and thought for a bit. No clue, but if it was like when I gender bent you, then definitely not. Everyone laughed at this, and Bakugo smirked, making everyone look at him worried. I have an idea. Who wants to mess with Aizawa some? Everyone looked at him confused until he said, I'm guessing Cyber gave you a copy of the cat's paw. I nodded and smirked. I'm guessing you're saying everyone becomes a Nico to mess with him. When his smirk grew bigger, everyone joined in and removed their wigs. With a couple minutes of quirk editing, copying, and giving everyone their version of the quirk, and we all sat in our seats as we heard our target walk down the hall. He entered the room, stopped, took a few steps back, walked back in, and shook his head. Okay, either I have a classroom of Nico students because I went to another dimension or someone drugged my coffee. I was the first to talk, tilting my head some. Are you okay, Aizawa? You look like you're seeing something impossible. Everyone could barely hold back their snickering as he nodded. Midoriya, do you have a healing quirk? I nodded and walked over to him. With my paws, I moved him over to his chair and pretended to heal him. Did that work, Aizawa? He shook his head. Nope, I still see Nico's. Wait a second, I felt you have paws. Okay, what's going on? The entire class started to laugh as he groaned. Bakugo was laughing the hardest until he suddenly started barking like a Pomeranian. That made everyone laugh harder, but made him mad. DKU. Bakugo came flying at me until Aizawa temporarily erased his quirk. When that happened, he face-planted again, and I removed the Nico quirk from everyone. I explained the prank to Aizawa, and he sighed. You all are problem children. Don't prank me again. I smirked, wiggling my ears before retracting them. No promises. Want a Nico quirk. Do I love coffee? I sigh and answer my phone. Hello. This better be important. It's past midnight. All Might sighed. I'm sorry about calling you so late. I want to give you back one for all. I never should have forced you to return it to me. That day I was a fool. Please come here and take back your quirk. It doesn't work for me at all. I groaned. Kiss my emerald, but All Might. After hanging up the phone, I went back to meditation to hopefully sleep. All Might called back, so I muted my phone and rolled over. He did not give up. When it was 5 a.m., I was sick of it. Me what? All Might. I want to return your quirk. I never should have made you return it. Give up, All Might. I don't want one for all back. Plus, it may not be compatible with me anymore. I won't give up. You're the only person worthy of the torch. Now, please accept it back. I groaned and warped next to him on his couch. Fine if you promise to never call me between midnight and school time ever again. I may not need to sleep, but I enjoy it when I can. Needless to say, it scared the CRP out of him. After he got over his shock, he smiled. Oh, I didn't think of that. I'm so sorry. I won't call you between 10 p.m. and when class starts unless it's a true emergency. I hugged him. I accept, and I'm sorry I was so mad at you. When you treated me like everyone else, it broke me. He returned the hug and sighed. I was mad when I learned you shared DNA with the man who killed my mentor who gave me one for all. We spoke for a bit, and I told him how badly you affected one of my other selves. Needless to say, he was appalled by himself. He held out his arm. I know this won't fix Vamp you, but maybe BLD for BLD. I couldn't help but laugh as I made my arm ring. BLD for gems is a better one. Plus he got the gem, so I guess BLD fits. I waved to my arm from when I first met him. As he laughed at my horrible joke, I bit his arm and took back One for All. Once it was back in me, I cloned it and gave it to him. There we go. I did give you a copy, though, so you can work as long as you want. He cried slightly and hugged me again. All Might, I need to warn you about the quirk. Because it was a stockpile quirk, it also has a copy of the quirks of all previous and current holders. Your buff form was actually a hidden quirk. Since I boosted it with my quirks, you now have all of them. Please don't use any of them without asking me how to. I trained him how to lock all of my quirks and those of his predecessors. Once that was done, I warped home saying, "Also, call me Izuku from now on." When I warped into the dining room, everyone instantly glared at me. What? All Might wanted to talk sorry. I should have left a note. Everyone nodded, and one handed me a pile of mail. You're joking. I missed the 11 a.m. mail truck. They shook their head, and I put the mail in my room before coming back down for lunch. After lunch, I sorted through my mail, burning most of them. After an hour, I got a phone call. Yes, Midnight. What do you need? She sighed. Please tell me you have a quirk that can remove some of my aging. A teenager called me an old hag. I chuckled. I do, but I can't actually make you live longer. Using a few different quirks, I can stop your aging, but you'll still die from old age. She squealed and hung up. Someone opened the door. Midnight is in a rare form, and I just fixed it yesterday from the horde of females. When Midnight arrived, I was already halfway to the living room, and I had the beauty quirk created. Don't speak, Midnight. There are a few rules and a big side effect you might want to know. This quirk requires you to keep exercising and eating healthy. Junk food or being lazy will still make you gain weight, as all it does is stop you from looking older than 22. Now, the side effect is just a stronger version of what you deal with monthly. She nodded and stood still for the quirk to be given to her. Midnight, how do you want the quirk given? I could do it my father's painful way, vampire mess bite, Cyber's tingly way, or a new way I want to try. Midnight smirked and wrapped her arms around my neck. You finally want to have some adult fun, cutie. I was confused at first until I realized what she meant. How the hell are you a hero with your perverted mind? I'm gonna kiss, not that. I may be of legal age, but I'm not hormonal like regular teenagers. I pull her arms off of me and shuddered. Now I know how Mineta's victims felt. Hey, what? Your mind hopping to that is unsettling. I sighed as I sat down on a chair. Whichever cosmic entity is deciding to mess with my life, I hope you step on sharpened Legos. Midnight laughed. If your luck gets worse, remember it's your fault now. I kissed her on the cheek and watched as she became slightly younger looking and, unfortunately for her, a lot more attractive, ripping her hero outfit in some areas. She looked herself over in a nearby mirror as I created a dress for her to wear. After she changed into it, I gently pushed her out. You need to talk to your costume maker, and before you ask, to pay me back, I would like a month without you asking for a date. What happened next was her eagerly agreeing and skipping away. Wow, kind of thought she'd fight back. Okay, cosmic entity, I rescind my Lego thing. I turn, and right in front of me is a Lego with spikes instead of the regular circle bits. Very funny. I kicked it to the side and walked up to my room to finish sorting the mail. By dinner time, I had another prospective person to date. It was a love letter from May, which shocked me. Dear Midoriya, Izuku, these past few months working side by side with you on my babies made me realize something. You're not just a walking fortune, a villain's son, or a hero in training. You're the nicest person I have ever met and a person you saved years ago. During daycare, when we were all younger, you stopped the bullies from beating me up and ruining my drawing of my babies because a female shouldn't be a tinkerer. Back then, my hair was blonde and my quirk hadn't manifested yet. You scolded the girls and shielded me from their quirks. One sentence you said stuck to me. I would rather marry a girl true to herself than copy and paste Barbie doll wannabes. That made me dig harder into becoming the best support hero out there. I know you're still stuck on Uraraka, who ended up to be a traitor. What I'm trying to say is, I hope that whenever you get over her, I hope you give me a chance. Sincerely, Hitomi. I was stunned. She was that Hitomi. What I learned after her parents came to pick her up on that day was that she was more loaded than the Yaoyorozu family. Seriously, her father created Hat Tech, the biggest support gear creation company in the world. I pinned her letter to the board and put up Shoto's pic as well since he asked me out on a date yesterday. I, of course, turned him down, which I hope he took well. When supper time came, I slid down the banister and across the floor until I got to my seat. Mom scolded me for being a bad example for the kids here. I apologized, saying everyone asked me if I've tried it, and now I can say I have. Supper is nice and fun. I had to stop a food fight from starting, but other than that, it was enjoyable. I did the dishes and smiled as the Neapolitan trio began pranking Mom, Kirojiri, and a few others. When they pranked Mocha with a rope trap, I had to stop them and quickly untie Mocha, growling, "Keep your mouth shut or I will remove your vocal cords." She luckily didn't say anything until the trio left, and she was untied. "Next time, tighten it, Daddy." I sighed. "Of course you couldn't resist that line. Next time I won't help you." She laughed along with the older half of the Nomoforms. I smirked evilly. Maybe next time I will summon Ragnar from Monster Museum and let her play. That made Mocha scream in terror and run into her room, locking the door. Wow. Thought she'd love getting bound by her O. She's part spider, and Mocha is afraid of spiders. This makes everyone laugh, and I laugh as I think up a prank. When Mocha finally left her room 2 hours later, I was told, and I became an emerald spider. On her way back to her room, she saw me on a web in the hall. Her scream actually broke some windows before she fainted. I put her to bed and cleaned up my prank with everyone laughing except my mom. If I wasn't a pro hero, she would have grounded me. So to double down, I moved the web into Mocha's macabre bedroom. I then went to bed and slept peacefully, glad I had finally forgiven All Might. Maybe I will have him come over for supper. Thank you for joining us on this journey through What If Deku Had Green Mineral Quirk. We hope you found it as captivating as we did. A big thank you to Lotus Moonveil for creating such an engaging story. Don't forget to visit their profile on Wattpad for more fantastic works. The link is in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Zenin Fanfics for more intriguing explorations into fanfiction and fantasy. Your support helps us create more content like this, and we love hearing your thoughts and suggestions in the comment section. See you soon in the next video.